Good morning, everybody. My name's Blake with Haigler Systems. Today I'm here with Tyler. Tyler is a security expert as well. And today what we're talking about is taking control of your IT, whether you're a CIO, an owner, a CFO, whatever you have going on within your company. It is very important that you take control of your IT. Even if you're an IT staff or IT company, make sure your partners, the people that you are serving, is taking control of the IT. And what I mean by that is a transparency across the board, knowing that everybody feels secure, that each individual has their place with the IT in general. So, Tyler, if you don't mind, just give our audience a little bit of information about yourself.
Sure. So we've been in the IT space since 1991. So we've been around a long time. Security has been a big thing for us. A lot of our clients are in the healthcare or DoD space, manufacturing space, and they're compliance driven. They have regulations they have to go by. That's HIPAA. That's NIST, that's ITAR, PCI compliance. So we're finding a lot of, as time goes on, more and more people are going to be required to go by some form of compliance. You look at Europe with GDPR. So that's kind of where our focus is those clients that require to abide by regulations.
Thank you, Tyler. So today is about taking control of your IT. And one of the things I wanted to point out with taking control of your IT is that checks and balances, where you have checks and balances with your accounting. And you might not personally have it where you go and you do the checks and balances, but the checks and balances, if the company's not getting money. So right away that the accounting's not doing their job, as well as production. So if the product's getting pushed out. If it's not, then nobody's getting their product. And when I say this about checks and balances, how do you know about the checks and balances with your own IT company or your own IT staff? It gets a little bit more difficult because you can't really say, oh, well the invoices are coming in or the bills are being paid, or we're getting money in from customers and everything's happy-go-lucky. It's usually in IT space, you don't know until it's too late. And is that right, Tyler? Do you see the same thing on your end?
Well, it's definitely right. So you don't know what you don't know. So, the thing with security is it's hard to determine how secure are you, or how efficient are your computers really running. And unfortunately, a lot of companies don't realize their security posture until they're hit with ransomware and they've got a $75,000 fee that they got to pay to maybe get their data back. Or there's some type of disaster. They lost all their data and their backup's not working as expected because they never took the time to actually test their business continuity processes. And unfortunately, a lot of those companies that don't have those checks and balances for their IT, when bad things happen, they don't survive.
So to prevent this, to help mediate this, all other departments within companies seem pretty easy to see that checks and balances. Right away. Since IT is so difficult to be able to see those checks and balances, here at Haigler Systems, we always recommend having a third party openly, whether you have IT staff or a company, openly letting the IT staff know, openly letting the IT company know, hey, we invited Haigler Systems, or we invited Tyler in to help with acknowledging a checks and balances. How do you see the best way of doing that, and do you agree with that process, or is there another way you suggest?
No, I agree. So think about it this way: when when you've got when you think of the doctor, right? So you got the family practice doctor, and you go there for your checkups. They do your maintenance. They do all these things, but they're not a cardiologist, right? That they don't specialize in certain things. So there might be a time where, yes, you've got a good IT department, you got a good staff, they're very knowledgeable, but they might not specialize in security. They might not know what good looks like. Might not be aware of the tools that are out there. So that's where it's important to bring somebody in and say, hey, just give this a look over. Let me know, what is my security posture? What could I do differently? Where are my gaps, right? And then create a remediation plan.
Yeah, I agree. Now, with this being said, when a company comes in like yours and looks over another IT staff member's workload, or they come in and they look over a completely another IT company, do you see the trying to think of the best way to say this. So let me rephrase it. When you go in and you see things that are broken, the important thing is they're paying their staff, they're paying their current IT company to protect them. So obviously you would normally consult with them and let them know what's going on, what's broken, and help to fix it. But with that being the case, when we talk to business owners and CEOs and CFOs about fixing those things and what to protect on it, most people think we're just trying to protect against hackers, which in that case is probably true. But my question here is, do you see that there is other things that we're protecting against when doing these audits?
Yeah, so it's all about business continuity, right? So yeah, it's cybersecurity is a big trending term, and security is important, but it's all about running your business efficiently. So what happens if a hacker does get in and gives you ransomware? Can you get your data back? How long are you down if you get ransomware? So maybe you can just recover from your backup, but how long are you going to be down while you go through that process? And then not to mention customer reputation. If you're a healthcare or someone who has to abide by HIPAA and you have some form of breach, data leakage, you lose a laptop. That's all you have to do is lose a laptop that's not encrypted. You have to report that. And now, what's that mean for your reputation in the community? What's that mean when you have an article on the internet saying that, hey, so-and-so healthcare was, lost patient data? So you really break trust, and that's something that's hard to get back from the consumer, the patient, the client, or whoever it might be.
I'm glad you brought up trust. When you said break trust, it makes me think of some of the IT staff members and companies out there that they have broke trust, but they're no longer working in the benefit of the customer. And what I mean that, and they might be their own worst enemy. I'm not trying to push anything onto them. They might just not know that they're their own worst enemy. And what I mean by that is they have this data. Maybe it's locked away, or maybe it's housed in a certain server or database system, and the customer feels like that they have no control of that data. With that being said, somebody like you yourself coming in and taking a look at those processes and everything together with the IT company or the IT staff, do you see that benefit of them coming to light, I suppose, of seeing, we had no clue of our clientele feeling this way, or feeling that we're holding them hostage, another type of long-term ransomware, if you will?
Yeah, so you're talking about the client?
That's correct. Client, the customer themselves, yes.
Yeah, so everyone's got to, I think in today's days and age with social engineering and all those things, just leaking a little bit of information or giving someone information, not knowing that they're protecting it, is always going to be a concern. I mean, you look at forgotten security questions, you know, what's your mother's maiden name? You know, things like that. In your IT, your company might be housing that data. And data is the most important thing in your organization typically. So that just needs to be secured, and need to understand the importance to the consumer that they're getting more and more reluctant to give information out because of all these data leaks you're reading about.
And Tyler, I'm going to cut in 1 second. We just had a question come in. We are going to do Q&A and at the very end of this video. So person that just posted that question, we will get to it right at the end. And that question is, what about customers that feel like they're in a relationship like Stockholm Syndrome? So we'll cover that. That took me off a little bit. So we do come encounter with stuff where we go into a new location, and obviously the customer is saying, hey, you know, I can't let this guy go. He knows everything about our IT. Or I can't let this IT company go because they hold all our data. And I feel like sometimes it could be as easy as saying, hey, I want you guys to come in and work with this company and let them know what's going on and bring it back to our control. Let us know that we're in control, that our data is available to us 24/7, or even the technician in-house where they say, hey, he's got everything. It's all on his own personal USB drive. You know, getting in there, helping that process to where maybe you don't have to fire the person, but you start working with the person, with the products and the knowledge base of letting the company themselves own their own IT again. Yes.
So documentation is important, right? I mean, you don't want someone in IT who doesn't want to release information, because that's job security for a lot of IT people. You know, they keep everything in their head, and you know, the company might not even know that they don't have the information they need. So I think it's important to, you know, document process, especially with the IT, and it helps you grow as an organization. If you're growing as an organization and you need to hire more IT staff, if that's all well documented process and not just in someone's head, then that just helps you grow as a company. You can bring someone on, they can hit the ground running because everything's a process. And vice versa, if unfortunately, you know, something happens to your IT person, you know, if it's documented, it's not leaving with them.
I really like that you brought up documentation as well. So you and I know, I'm a tech by heart, and you know, I started a business not knowing what it was, but after several years of doing business, I've learned not all people are created equal. And what I mean by that is you have technicians, primarily their personality role is to be technical. And then you have technical writers where they're doing the documenting, they're writing the processes, they're putting in that information. The security plans, you know, they're creating those security plans, they're creating those disaster plans, which we have templates for everybody watching. We'll be happy to hand them out. And we, you know, that for staff that has a small tech team of like 2 or 3 people of IT guys, you know, what do you recommend for those guys? Because most of the time, and this is my experience, most of the time, an IT person is not usually a good reference to be a technical writer.
Yeah, so as far as how you document that, I mean, a lot of people throw things in Excel. You know, that's not the best way, because what you put in that Excel document, everyone's going to have access to see that. You can't just say, well, I want certain key individuals C-level executives that have access to certain passwords and other people access to other passwords. So do you want your IT to have access to payroll or to accounting or that information? So there's systems out there that can allow you to document all those. But you're talking about documentation, you know, it's also one thing documenting. It's also one thing knowing that your documentation works. You know, so when you start talking about security plans, business continuity plans, you know, all these things, it looks good on paper, but then also have you tested it? You know, is this just a good idea? Is this a proof of concept, or is this a proven disaster recovery plan that's been tested? And I think that's the key difference, that you don't want to test your written procedure of disaster recovery when it's time to actually implement it.
So now you guys do a lot of technical writing, right? You guys do a lot of documentation, keeping that process. Would you also say a third party like myself or you would be able to go in and assist those technicians, or the IT company with that documentation and reviewing over that documentation as audits and making sure that everything maintains continuously on a regular basis?
Well, yeah, it's always good to have a second opinion. It's always good to have someone who's probably gone through the disaster recovery process. I personally have recovered people from fires where they had a complete loss of the building. You know, I've recovered people that have had ransomware in the past. So a mature company like yours or ours, you know, we can go and we can say, okay, we know what good looks like on a disaster recovery plan. We've actually implemented those plans in the past, and we can catch pitfalls before you actually start the process.
I agree, and only because you said somebody that has experience with implementing those disaster plans. And the reason I laugh is when I think of not having a disaster plan, right away, if something happens, I'm thinking of a guy with his hair on fire, his hands flurrying around, and all he's doing is running around in circles because he doesn't know what else to do.
Right.
But that plan,
he goes to a travel agency.
That's right. He's done.
He's done.
So I do recommend. You know, I'm the same way. Even in my own company, we encourage our clients to allow us to invite in a third-party IT to do those audits, whether they're quarterly, biannually, or annually. Even the hiring process, you know, we try, if somebody's looking, and this is really important, if anybody's looking to hire an IT or IT company for the first time, 100% get a hold of me or Tyler. Contact us. Let us help you with that process of hiring that company. And the reason I say that, yes, we also do that stuff, but it's important to have a company that will help you go through those processes. What technical aspects are you going through? What's your company into? You know, let another company be the CIO of the first or the second company, your main company. However you process that, keep that checks and balances moving so you have that information. And you have that easy to see checks and balances. That way you know for a fact you're in control of that IT. We are getting close to time. I'm going to answer this Stockholm Syndrome question real quick, unless you want to take it, Tyler.
So I'm going to have a stupid question here. What is Stockholm Syndrome?
So that's a good question. So Stockholm Syndrome, which if I'm incorrect, just throw it in the queue and let me know that we're not doctors, that we're IT people. Stockholm Syndrome, from my understanding, is where the victim starts to show compassion or feel trapped, and they show that towards their captive, and they become so overwhelmed with being a victim that they just stay. They become complacent, and they don't want to reach out to anybody else because they want to stay right there. They're worried about what might happen, or they feel that what's on the other side of the fence may even be worse. So for my outlook on it, I would say anybody that feels like they're stuck, to get the easiest way to get unstuck is to be active, to make that first call. Call me, call Tyler, either one of us, and I'm going to put in the recordings, I'm going to put our website information, our contact information right below. And if it's in any other social formats, it might be there, or right here. So, but anyway, for those people that feel that way, I highly suggest contacting another IT company such as us, and letting us walk through it with your IT company. So, call us, and if you're worried about calling your IT company or talking to your staff member directly, call us and we'll walk you through a process. And that process being, we connect with the IT company, we connect with your staff member, not as any type of negative manner, but in the manner of, hey, we're just here to help. And we are. We want to make sure that you're taking control of your IT, and you see that transparency across the board. So now that I kind of took that question back away from you, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, so I think it's important that so we're here to help your IT department, your IT person. We're not here to displace them. We want to give them the tools in your company to succeed, right? So sometimes the IT person might be reluctant to have another company come in. I mean, they feel like, oh, they're going to find things. They're going to see I'm not doing my job, and I could get fired, right? Well, that's not the case. I mean, it's kind of like going, like I said earlier, if you got a heart problem, you're going to go to the person that specializes in that. You're not going to go to your general family practice doctor. So all you're doing is you're bringing in a specialist to really give you that physical checkup. And at the end, when it's done, we're just going to say, hey, here's things you should do. Here's things that you should be aware of. Here's some suggestions. And then it's, whether you decide to do them or whether you say, hey, that's something that we would just rather have you do for accountability reasons even. We can do that. But I think the biggest thing is, we're here to help. And that can be sometimes tough coming into IT departments. People in IT tend to be territorial, I find. I mean, I don't know if you find that, Blake, but I go into places and the IT people, I mean, they just kind of cross their hands and they just kind of look at you like, oh, I'm not listening to you. But that's because usually they don't want to be told that they were doing something wrong, right? Or they want to look good in their leadership's eyes. So
right. I mean, usually they're hired to know it all, which right. Let's face it, in our industry nowadays, one person, two people cannot know it all. You have to have that team collaboration. You have to have people that you're able to lean on.
Yeah, I mean, we're an IT company ourselves, and we don't know it all. There's something, sometimes we got to go to you, Blake, when we need something, or another IT company when we need something. No IT companies, even that focuses on IT, knows it all. So how can we expect an IT department or one IT individual at a company to know it all? I mean, it's just not reasonable.
No, I agree. And I feel like some of that pressure on some of these IT companies and the staff members, the CIOs and the CTOs of some of these companies, they're looked at as if they're supposed to know it all, and that puts that pressure on it. So, that's where we can come in and help change that outlook of that for them, and expand on their IT and helping them open that door a little bit more for themselves internally. So we are out of time. Is there any, or are there any other questions before we jump off of here? None? Give it just a few more seconds. Tyler, do you have anything else to say while anybody's typing or anything?
No, I think the biggest thing is just awareness. Be aware of your IT, what they're doing, but also what they're not doing. And as a business owner, it's hard to determine that. Our goal is to make you secure, to give you that business continuity, because if you don't have certain pieces in place, it's like getting cancer without insurance. You're not going to, you're not going to do well. You're not going to come out well at the end of it. So at least contact someone if you have any questions about your IT, to give you at least the awareness so that you know your exposure.
Yeah, I agree 100%. So there are, we didn't have anybody send anything. My name's Blake with Haigler Systems. Reach out to us if you have any questions or if you need anything. Tyler, I'm going to let you give your information one more time. That way, if anybody has any questions in your area or viewing this video on YouTube, they can possibly contact you if you don't mind.
Yeah, we're Tyler from CTS Computers. We cover mostly Central Illinois, Indiana, but we really cover, we have a nationwide footprint. So you can contact me. Our office number is 217-446-9574. You can go to www.ctscomp.com and reach out if you have any questions or needs.
Thank you, Tyler. Thank you very much for being on the call with us today, and I appreciate everyone that attended. Everybody have a wonderful day. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Blake.